Hi, I'm Lizzie from Baecrochett. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Savannah Bralette. But before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to my new YouTube members. Katia, Clara, Sandra, Nino, Roseanne, and Faita. Thank you so much for becoming members. This helps me to create more tutorials for you for free in the future. New members get shoutouts in my new videos, and members also get early access to my tutorials before anyone else sees them. If you'd like the written pattern, you can find it on my website at baecrochett.com, my Patreon shop, or my Ravelry shop. I'll have the links in the description. I also have a Patreon where there's a lot of fun stuff over there. I'm still pretty new to Patreon, so I'm figuring it out as I go, but members do get pattern discounts, either 20% off or 40% off depending on the tier. These are some of my testers from when I started designing this pattern. And yeah, that's about it. Let's get into the tutorial. So for this tutorial, you will need yarn of your choice, a 4mm crochet hook, measuring tape, and a darning needle. I would suggest to use 2 different colors of yarn if you want your work to look similar to mine here. But you don't have to use 2 colors, you can use 1 if you'd like. And I'd recommend using a cotton mix yarn, preferably a weight 3 light DK yarn. Okay, so let's start. So my base color would be this one I'm choosing. And I'm gonna take my measurement. My measurement was 10 inches. So I'm gonna chain an amount that corresponds to my 10 inches. And we wanna make sure that it is also a multiple of 4. So you're gonna make a slip knot, and we're gonna chain and count the number of chains as you go until you reach your measurement, okay? And I'll meet you back. Okay, so I went ahead and I made a total of 44 chains. And from here, we're gonna add 3 chains. After you finish your chain, which is also a multiple of 4, we can move on to the next step. So we're gonna chain an extra 3 at the end. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now I'm gonna single crochet into the second chain from the hook, which is this one, not this one. And we're going to single crochet into each stitch all the way down, okay? So I'm going to leave you to do the rest all the way until we reach the end, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I went ahead and I made my single crochets into each chain, and I reached back to the end here. Just did my last one at the end. And now you're going to chain 2, and we're going to do this chain 2 a bit loosely, more loosely than usual, because this counts as a double crochet. And now we're going to turn our work, and we're going to double crochet into each stitch all along. This first stitch already has a double crochet, so we're going to work into the next stitch right here. So we're going to continue just like this. With double crochets into each stitch all along. So you're going to continue this all the way until we reach the end here, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I reach back to the end here, and I just have these last 2 stitches at the end. 1 and 2. This very last stitch. Don't forget that last stitch. So this is the end of this row. What it should look like so far. Okay, so from here we're going to be adding your second yarn. So I'm going to kind of take out this last double crochet here and push my hook into that stitch. So the double crochet is halfly finished here now. So now I'm going to take my second yarn and then grab the second yarn, pull through, I'm just going to tie a little knot right here just so that it doesn't come undone. So now that I have my second yarn in place, I'm going to chain one, turn my work, and this is going to be a bit different from what we were doing previously. This row includes working front post treble crochets. So I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to make one now. So we're going to front post treble crochet around the third single crochet from the first row, which is this row down here. So to front post treble crochet, we're going to yarn over 2 times. So there's 1, 2, 3 loops on the hook. Now we're going to look for the third single crochet. So this one is the first one, second, and third. So we're going to go into that third hole here and then back up around this section right here. We're going to grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops. Now we're going to skip this first stitch where we had our chain one coming out from, this first double crochet here, and we're going to work a single crochet into the next stitch, but make sure it's right after this stitch, so right here. Okay, so we're making a single crochet. Now we're going to do 2 more single crochets into the next 2 stitches. And the reason why we don't work into the first stitch where this chain one came from is because this treble crochet acts as that stitch on the top here. Okay, so after this 3 single crochets, we're gonna make another front post treble crochet, but we're not gonna finish it. It's gonna be a bit different from just this one. We're gonna make a front post treble crochet 2 together, but I'll show you how this goes. So you're going to yarn over 2 times just like before, and we're going to go through the same spot where we made our last treble crochet 2 together, under and through, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops again, and leave these 2 loops on your hook. Okay, now we're going to skip 3 single crochets from the first row. Okay, so to do so, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, and into the next space we're going to make a front post treble crochet. So we're going to yarn over 2 times, count the 3 from where we left off, so 1, 2, 3, go in through right here and back up to the front, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, and now we have 3 loops on the hook. So we're going to grab the yarn and pull through all 3 loops. So that's front post treble crochet 2 together. So in the back here, we're going to skip this stitch, this next stitch, because this is this stitch. This is the same as this stitch on top. So we're going to continue on into the next stitch, not into this one. We're going to grab the yarn, make a single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, so we have a total of 3. And now we're going to do that same thing over. So we're going to yarn over 2 times, go through the same spot where we made our last treble crochet 2 together, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops again, leave these 2 loops on your hook, And now we're going to yarn over 2 times, skip 1, 2, 3 single crochets and into the next spot right here. Go through there and grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through all 3. And we're gonna skip that stitch at the back here, that next stitch, and go into the following stitch and make single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, just like this. So we're going to continue doing this all the way until the end. Okay, so I'll do it one more time. Yarn over 2 times, go into the same spot, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops, yarn over 2 times, skip 1, 2, 3 into the next stitch, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through all 3. Skip that next stitch, go into the following stitch, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet. Okay, so I'm going to leave you to do the rest all the way until we reach the end here, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I just reached back down to the end here and I ended off with 3 single crochets, and at the end we want the beginning to look like the end, so we have to finish off with our last treble crochet. So I'm going to yarn over 2 times, go into the same spot where your last treble crochet was, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops. Okay, and then remember we skip 1 stitch after we finish that, and we're going to single crochet into the very last stitch, which is this chain at the end of the chain 2, the top chain of the chain 2. So this is what the end of the row should look like. Okay, so now from this point we're going to start increasing outwards like this. So it's going to increase on the sides. So we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. This counts as a double crochet, and we're going to turn our work and we're going to double crochet into the same stitch at the beginning here. Okay, so we're going to double crochet 2 times, 1 and 2. So there's 3 double crochets at the beginning for an increase. Okay, so we're going to continue double crocheting into each stitch all the way until we reach the end of the row. Okay, so I'll leave you to do the rest. Double crochet into each stitch all the way until you reach the end, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I just finished off this row and I have my last double crochets at the end. So I have 1 stitch here, and 1 stitch here. So remember we want the beginning and the end to look the same, so we're going to add 2 more double crochets for the increase again at the end. So a total of 3 double crochets in the very last stitch. And now you're going to take this yarn, grab the yarn from here, pull this one tight because we're finished off with this yarn, but don't cut it because we're going to use it. Okay, so let's leave that right there just so that we don't have to cut the yarn throughout, so we can continue on without cutting the yarn. Okay, now we're going to turn our work. Okay, so this row is going to be similar to this row where we made our front post treble crochets 2 together, but instead of working into the single crochet stitches here, we're going to work around these front post treble crochets from below. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 using this yarn because we're changing colors. Chain 1, treble crochet around the first treble crochet, just like this. And now we're going to skip a stitch, which is that first stitch, and we're going to go into the next stitch, single crochet, single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, like that. So remember, we're going to do it very similarly to how we did down here with our front post treble crochets 2 together. So we're going to make a front post treble crochet 2 together. So we're going to yarn over 2 times, go around the last treble crochet that we worked around, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, leave these 2 loops on the hook, and now we're going to yarn over 2 times again to make a treble crochet around the next post right here. Grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, grab the yarn, pull through 2 loops, and now we can pull through all 3 loops, just like that. And we're going to look in the back, skip that first stitch, go into the next stitch, grab the yarn, single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch. So that's a total of 3 single crochets. Now we're going to make another front post treble crochet 2 together around the next 2 posts. So 1 here, and then 1 here. Skip the next stitch, go into the following stitch, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet. Okay, so this is what your work should look like. So I'm going to leave you to do the rest all the way until we reach the end, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I just went along and I reached to the end. I just finished off with 3 single crochets, and I worked my last treble crochet 2 together into the last stitch here. So now at the end, remember, we want the end and the beginning to look the same. So we're going to make our last treble crochet around the same stitch we just worked around, and we're going to skip that stitch at the back. And remember, this chain 2 counts as a double crochet, so we're going to go into that stitch and make a single crochet. So now we're going to do just like before, and we're going to make a chain 2 loosely, which counts as a double crochet, and we're going to turn our work, and we're going to work into the same stitch, which is this one, and make 2 double crochets for an increase. Okay, and now we're going to work into each stitch with a double crochet. So you're going to double crochet into each stitch all the way until we reach the end, and I'll meet you back. Okay, I just reached back to the end here, and I have 2 more double crochets to make into the last 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And remember, the last stitch should look the same as the first stitch, so there's 2 extra double crochets at the end as well. 1 and 2, so a total of 3. And just like before, how we changed the color, we're going to change the color again by just grabbing the yarn, pull through, pull this one tight. Now we're going to turn our work, chain 1 and turn our work, and we're going to continue just like we did before. So remember, we did our first treble crochet around the next treble crochet from below, so we're going to do that again. So treble crochet around the first treble crochet from below, skip 1 stitch, which is that first stitch, go into the next stitch, single crochet, make 2 more single crochets, a total of 3. And now we're going to make our treble crochets 2 together. So go into the first treble crochet, the same one that we just worked into, don't finish it off, make another treble crochet around the next post, skip 1 stitch, go into the next stitch, make 3 single crochets into the next 3 stitches. So continue just like this, just like before, all the way until we reach the end, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I just reached back down to the end, and I just finished off with 3 single crochets at the end, and I just worked my treble crochet 2 together, my last treble crochet 2 together. So we're going to make our last treble crochet around the last post right here, and you should have 2 stitches free, so this double crochet here and this double crochet, which is also a chain 2. So we're going to work into the chain 2 space, skipping this double crochet, make a single crochet, and that's the end of this row. I'm going to chain 2, which counts as a double crochet, turn my work, and just like before, we're going to make our increase. So 2 extra double crochets at the beginning here, 1 and 2, and we're going to work double crochets into each stitch all the way until we reach the end. So I'm going to leave you to do the rest. Double crochet into each stitch all the way until we reach the end, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I just reached down to the end here, and I just have my last single crochet to work into. And remember, we want the beginning and the end to look the same. So I'm going to make 3 double crochets into that last stitch. And then we can change the color just like before without cutting the yarn. You're going to keep creating more rows going outwards until you reach your desired length. You can continue on over and over until you reach your desired length, and I'll meet you back once I finish reaching my desired length. Okay. Okay, so once you've got your desired amount of increase rows, we can move on doing no increases to the following rows, and you can make it as long as you'd like. So to move on without making increases, I ended off on a single crochet row, and I'm just going to chain 2. This counts as a double crochet, and we're going to turn our work. And we're not working into this first stitch, we're working into the following stitch with no increases, and then you're going to continue double crocheting into each stitch all the way until we reach the end of the row. Okay, so continue just like this all the way until we reach the end, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I just finished off this row all the way until we reach the end, and at the end we're not going to make 3 double crochets into one stitch like before. We're just going to do 1, okay, just like this. And now we're going to change colors just like we did before. Chain 1, turn our work, and now we're going to single crochet into the first 2 stitches. So this first stitch, single crochet, and then single crochet into the next stitch, so only 2. And now we can move on to our front post treble crochets 2 together, just like before. So we're going to go around this first post here, and then the next post. And we're skipping that stitch at the back here, this stitch, and then going into the next stitch, and then single crochet into the next stitch and into the next. So that's a total of 3 single crochets. So your work should look like this without any increases, and you're going to continue on just like you normally would all the way until we reach the end of the row, and I'll meet you back once we reach here. Okay, so I just reached down to the end, and at the end I just finished off with the 3 single crochets. And remember, we want the end to look the same as the beginning. So I'm gonna make my double crochet 2 together into the last 2 posts, just like this. Skip 1 stitch and single crochet 1, 2, and 3 into the last stitch. Okay, so I went ahead and made my double crochet row without any increases, and now I'm at the point where I'm changing color right here. For this row, we're just going to chain 1, turn our work, and it's going to be a little different from what we did down here, okay? So we're going to go and make a treble crochet around this first post right after that first chain. Skip the first stitch, which is this one, and then go into the next stitch, single crochet, single crochet into the next stitch and into the next stitch. Then we can continue on with our front post treble crochets 2 together into the following stitches. Okay, so we're going to be repeating these 4 rows over and over until we reach our desired length, and you're going to make sure to do the same thing on the opposite side once you finish at the end here. So I'll leave you to do the rest and continue on making rows without any increases until you reach your desired length for your top. You can make it like a bralette or a crop top, or even with more coverage. So continue on, and I'll meet you back once we reach the end, and we can move on to the border, straps, and the bottom edging. Okay, so this is what my work looks like now with the no increases section here, and you can see that I ended off on a single crochet row, and I also ended off on the same color that I started with. So this is the dark brown, and this is a dark brown in the beginning. So you can do that too if you'd like. So now we're going to work along the sides, okay? So we're going to turn our work this way, chain 1, and as you can see there's a double crochet here at the corner. We're going to work 3 single crochets into that space. Now we're going to work 1 single crochet into the side of the single crochet space here, this single crochet. 1 single crochet, then 3 into the side of the next double crochet right here. 3 single crochets, and we're going to continue repeating this until we reach right here where our increases were. Okay, so this is where there were no increases, but here is where the increases are. So you can see that by looking at right here where there's 3 double crochets into 1 space, and this is my last double crochet on its own. So now I'm just going to single crochet into the next single crochet, the side of it, and now we can move on to this side. It's going to be a bit different. We're going to make 2 single crochets into the side of the double crochet, the next double crochet, not 3 this time, then 1 single crochet into the side of the next single crochet, then 2 single crochets into the side of the next double crochet, 1 into the next single crochet, and we're going to continue just like this all the way until we reach this corner. Okay, so 2 single crochets into the side of the next double crochet and continue on until we reach here, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I went ahead and I reached back to this corner, and now I have my last single crochet at this corner to go into. I just worked into the side of the double crochet, and we're gonna make our straps from here. So we're not working onto this edge just yet. We're just gonna make our straps at each corner. We just work from here all up to here. We're gonna make a strap here and a strap here. Okay, so we're gonna make our strap, come back down. Let's do that. To make your strap, you're just gonna chain an amount that you think is long enough to tie around your neck. Okay, so for your straps, you want it to be a bit longer than usual. So I went with 200 chains because they're gonna have 2 straps at the top, and these are your only 2 straps. And that's because once we have this around our body like this, we're gonna weave this around our shoulder behind our neck, make an X pattern here, then back to here, then back to here, and then we can tie it into a bow. Okay, so that's how we want our strap to be, and they'll have another one here, 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 here. So yeah, make this top strap a bit longer than you usually would. I went with 200 chains, and now we can add a bead if you like. So you're gonna take out that loop like this, place your loop through your bead, place your hook back on, chain 1 like that, and you can either choose to go with single crochets, slip stitches, or half double crochets depending on how thick you want your straps. I'm just gonna go with slip stitches, so I'm just gonna slip stitch into each stitch. So you're going to continue this all the way until you reach back to the end here, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I just reached back down to the end and I just have my last stitch to work into right here. And now we're going to continue single crocheting along the top edge here. So we're going to work into that same stitch at this corner right here with a single crochet and continue single crocheting into each stitch. So you're going to continue single crocheting into each stitch all the way until we reach here, and you're going to make your next strap and add your next bead to your next strap. So I'll leave you to do that. Once you finish your next strap, I'll meet you back, okay? Okay, so I just finished my second strap. So I have 2 straps now. And now we're going to work along this edge and back down to this edge. And as you can see, there's these loops that we have to work around. So that's what we're going to do, just like the other side, okay? So I'm going to work into the first stitch. I'm going to cover all these ends. So remember, we made 2 single crochets into the sides of the double crochets, then 1 single crochet into the side of the single crochet, 2 single crochets into the sides of the double crochets, and we're going to continue just like this, covering these ends with our single crochets. Okay, so I'll leave you to do that all the way down to this end, and remember there's 3 single crochets into the sides of these double crochets where there are no increases. Okay, so remember to do that as well, and I'll meet you back once we reach this end. Okay, so I went along and I reached back to this end, and remember there's 3 single crochets into the sides of these double crochets where there are no increases, because we want this little hole here. Okay, so now we're gonna be creating a pom-pom edging at the bottom. So from here we're gonna turn our work around, and I'm just gonna slip stitch into that corner stitch here, and I'm gonna make a front post single crochet around this first post here. So to do so, we're just gonna go under, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, and single crochet. So that's a front post single crochet. So to make our first pom-pom, we're gonna chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You might need a little time to get the hang of this, so we're gonna count 1, 2, 3, and into the third chain we're gonna make a 6 double crochet cluster into the third chain. So to make a cluster, we're gonna go into that third chain like this, grab the yarn, hold on to this section here, pull up a loop, leave this right here, grab the yarn again, and we're going to do that 6 times to make a 6 double crochet cluster. It might take a little time to get the hang of this. So we have 3 so far, 4, 5, and 6. So we have all these loops, and now we can grab the yarn and pull through all. Make a chain to close it off, and now we're going to do that again. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and make another 6 double crochet cluster into this space right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now we can pull through all and make a chain. So this is what we should have so far. Kind of pull it to have it like this, and now we're going to slip stitch into this spot right here to close it off so it looks more like a pom-pom now, and you can kind of fluff it up if you like. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to look for the next post, which is right here, and we're going to make a front post single crochet just like we did before. So that's our first pom-pom. So we're going to continue doing this all the way until we reach the end, and I'll meet you back. Okay guys, so bad news, I lost yarn chicken because I have no more yarn left, and I reached here. That sucks. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is undo my work until I reach here, so my bralette would be a bit shorter than I would like. So yeah, I'm gonna have to undo all of this until this point so that it'll be like this short, and I think I should have enough yarn to finish it off, because once we reach here we can cut and fasten off the yarn. So wish me luck, I'll meet you back. Okay, so I went ahead and I finished up with less rows so that and then I had this much yarn left after I unraveled those couple of rows and the straps. But yeah, so at the end you're just gonna front post single crochet around the last post, and then slip stitch and cut and fasten off your yarn, okay, so that both sides look the same. And now you can weave in your ends, and to tie your bralette you're going to take, going to be like this and like this on your body. So we're going to crisscross it like this, take one strap, and we're going through these holes where there are no increases, okay. So I'll start from where it has no increases. So I'm pushing my bead through those holes. One here, and then I'm gonna skip these two. You can do it however you like, but I just want to do the top part and the bottom part. And then you can tie it into a bow. Okay. So that's how you're gonna tie it once you're wearing it. And that's it. Wear and enjoy.